Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another edition of Nebraska Preps Postgame. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla here. Ready to get ready, I guess, for the postseason, but we got to, on this, we recap what happened last week and maybe look ahead a little bit. But before we do that, I need to tell you to keep your hands on the wheel and eyes and focus straight ahead. The driver has one job, and to drive. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Jacob, I drove a lot this weekend, I feel like, so I was definitely had my seatbelt on. A lot happened. A lot of big games, particularly in Class A, happened.
First, before we dive into the hoops, I think a lot of the driving and a lot of the stuff that happened this week was because of state wrestling.
Yeah.
I think you and your group did a terrific job covering that. If you listen to this, fan of high school sports, go check out Mike Chuck podcast. Mike did a terrific job kind of recapping and highlighting and talking wrestling all season long. So if you're looking for some more high school wrestling talk, that is where you can find it. My expertise in basketball, so we'll stick to that here.
This one's about basketball, so, and boys in particular, because we do stuff on the girls' side other ways. So, where do you want to start? Tuesday? Let's start Tuesday, maybe, or do you want to start with Bellevue West? Just their week they had.
Let's go ahead and start just right off the top with Bellevue West, who managed to win the game or
win the games,
finish the season on a 20-game winning streak, regular season. But it was not easy.
I mean, their one loss came early.
They're 22-1 and they've won their last 20. So that was the second week of the season there. They took that loss to Miller North, and since then just
rolling.
But they did not roll through this weekend. They really had to earn these last two.
They've won a lot of close games, kind of, I feel like, but or closer than to be expected, I guess.
Good team makes plays down the stretch. And so they handled Papua and the Vista on early in the week on Tuesday. And then Papio South down, on Friday night. Took them down to the wire.
Bryson Ball, man, he's good. If you didn't know, Bryson Ball is very good at basketball.
82-76 was the final, but it was a 1-point game with 2 minutes to play. And then Bell West made some big plays down the stretch. And the reason it was a 1-point game was primarily because Bryson Ball went off for 40.
He had 40 against that team.
40 points, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks, 14 of 23 from the field, 6 of 12 from 3, 6 of 9 from the line. Pretty against that team. That's pretty phenomenal. Reese Kircher added 22 points, 4 boards, 4 assists there.
It's good to have him back.
Papio South shot 14 of 31 from 3. Bell West shot 12 of 21 on the other side.
Pretty good.
So that's how you get 160 points almost there. But the reason Papio South was able to stay in it, they forced 16 Bellevue West turnovers and only committed 7 themselves. But in the end, Bellevue West had enough to pull it down. I think Robbie Garcia hit a couple big buckets down the stretch. They finished on an 8-3 run there to win the game. And Jane Jackson, 22 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals. Robbie Garcia had 22 and 7, hit 3 threes. And Elvin Turner, 14 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. So kind of the lead guys taking over for Bellevue West down the stretch there. But again, they need to make some big plays down the stretch to survive that one. And then they had to do the same on Saturday against Gretna, closing out the regular season at Gretna. I was there for that one. 61-58 was the final.
Tough place to play against a tough opponent, especially after
no prep,
less than 24 hours.
And I talked to Coach Klein afterward, and that's what he said. Like, coming off of that tough game on Friday, no real prep, back-to-back days, and for that Gretna team that is able to throw out some different things at you. Gretna led for much of the second and third quarter and into the fourth because that 1-3-1 they threw out there, and Bell West could not hit shots. They went 1 of 10 from 3 in the second and third quarters, and had a tough time getting the ball inside against that zone. And but they finally Jane Jackson hit a 3 to tie it up in the fourth quarter. Kind of went back and forth, and then Steven Polachek gave them a 3-point lead with like 2 minutes to play and change. Kind of traded stops there, and then so at this point, Bellevue was 2 of 13 from the free throw line. 2 of 13.
That's not good.
And they decided, Coach Klein said, anytime we're up 3 and there's under 20 seconds to play, we're going to play the foul game. Yeah. So they fouled Landon Pecorski 3 straight times. He went 6 for 6. On the other end, Bellevue West, Gretna had to foul them back. They went 6 for 6. Jacob Arope, who had missed 4 straight, went up there and knocked down 2 after taking a big charge with 26 seconds left. And then Eldon Turner hit 2, and Jalen Jackson hit 2 to close it out. Although Gretna did get a 3 off at the buzzer. They went through the old deep pass with 4 seconds left. Cade Cook caught it near half court and pitched it to Alex Wilcoxon, who kind of got off a leaning 3, was trying to draw a foul, didn't get a call, didn't get a clean, loaded up look, but still got a shot at it, and it just didn't go down. So that was, I mean, that's as tough as anybody has played Bellevue West in a while. So I think Gretna, it's a good showing for them heading in the postseason. Like they, I think Wilcoxon didn't have a very good game by his standards. Like, so if you get him going a little bit more, like he's certainly capable of, I think you're Gretna, you feel like, okay, we can play with anybody heading into the postseason here.
Yeah, and they're going to be like more likely than not the 8th overall seed, which will put them.
That was they needed that one to
host. In district play, if you're the 8, that means you're the number 2 seed in the 7.
Yeah,
which is Kearney. Likely going to be Kearney. So that 1-2 will be in Kearney. It'll be Kearney Gretna in Kearney in the district final. If someone doesn't get out, if the seats hold. Yeah. Tough.
Yeah.
And if you're Kearney, that's not the team you want to be the 2.
No, yeah, congratulations, you won a number seed.
Yeah.
And you get Gretna.
Yeah, you don't want that. Anybody but Gretna is a 2. Like them being a 2, good luck. Like I think that's a really tough draw. But hey, Kearney's good, especially there at Kearney.
Yeah,
anyway.
Landon Pecorski had 27 in that game, went 10 and 10 from the line. But they just a couple buckets shy there. Millard North, easy week for them, holding in there at number 2.
On a tear.
60-38 against Creighton Prep.
Yeah.
And that was at Prep, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's tough. Then they beat Lincoln North Star by almost 40 on Saturday to close out the regular season. And
they won 8 in a row.
Yeah.
To finish the season. And they had the Millard South game where they won by 9.
Millard South's been playing better.
Yeah,
it's a young team.
Millard South's 10 and 11. They're right at 500 with that young group. But I mean, they basically just smacked everybody down the stretch here. So
yeah. So I mean, Derek Rollins, Elijah Geth, and Neil Monster, those 3 seniors playing at a really high level.
I mean, they beat Prep 60-38.
Yeah,
at Prep. Yeah. That's crazy.
No, North shot 10 of 17 from 3 in that game. They had 15 and 11 from Rollins, 16, 6 boards, 5 assists, 4 steals from Geth. And then Rollins had 29 and 9 against North Star. Monster had 16 points, 9 assists, and they shot 10 and 21 from 3 as a team. So they're hitting threes in addition to what they're getting from Rollins inside. That's tough to deal with. So Bell West, Millard North heading into the postseason, 22-1 for Bell West. 19-2 for Millard North. Top 2 teams kind of clearly established themselves. They'll be the top 2 seeds, I believe. And then Westside there at 3 had a good week as well. Went 3-0, finished out the regular season with 3 double-digit wins and 2 big ones. They handled North. We talk about North, who is still sitting at 5 in the poll.
North,
they had that tough stretch, 3-game stretch to really prove themselves, and they went 2-1.
Yeah,
they beat Central in that close one last week that we talked about. That was a really big win for them. Yeah, and then they
smacked Bryan.
Yeah, and they smacked Bryan on the other end of that. Unfortunately, they took the 85-61 loss to Westside for them. So still kind of, I think on the outside look, like I think there's the tier break there based on just those results after the top 4 here. But Westside, they just blew the doors off them in the third quarter.
I mean,
They were up, and then
Westside's 4 losses are. I mean, 3 of those 4 are twice to Bellevue West, and once to Millard North, and then the loss at Southeast early in the year in December. But they're playing pretty well too.
Yeah,
coming down the stretch.
So they got 24 points, 5 assists from CJ Mitchell, and 20 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists from Kevin Stubblefield against North, and then double figures from Caleb Benning, Ricky Lofton as well. And then I was there at Central on Friday night when 69-59 win for Westside. They fell behind early and then kind of got back in control and then led the rest of the way. It was close in the fourth quarter, but Central never really got back, never pulled back level, and Westside held on there and kept Stubblefield at 26 points, 7 rebounds, and Mitchell added 17 points. So then they closed it out with Bellevue East, won a big one there. Got a lot of guys playing time, shared the ball. So Westside looking good. They're at the 3rd in our coaches poll. They'll host a district here as we head into the postseason. We talked about Gretna at 4. They beat Bell East and Lincoln East before the big game with Bellevue West. The same guys leading the way in those games. Mentioned North. They're still there at 5. 19-3 is a regular season record there. And they had that loss to Westside despite 25 on 50% shooting for Minor Strong and 16 points on 6 of 11 from Jerion Williams. Just didn't quite get enough outside of those guys. And then smacked Bryan 76-55 to bounce back there. Minor Strong 23, 11 boards, 5 steals, 3 assists. Jerion Williams had 17. Really coming on strong there as a sophomore. And DeAndre Harper, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. And then they closed out the season with a win at Lincoln High, 60-51 there. Despite Strong, who has been leading the way for them, had a rough shooting game, but defensively they got enough to get that one done.
It looks like Omaha North will have Papio South as the 2 in there. Likely gonna, this is not official, but pretty close. Yeah, looks like Papio South will be the 2 seed in that district.
That'll be a tough one there.
That'd be they played this year.
Yeah.
I was there. That's pretty intriguing. I think if that's a district final, that might be where you find your boy. Might be the place I'll be at. Yeah. It was 62-60 the last time they played.
All righty.
In January. I remember it was a close game. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, just kind of round out. Prep had a 2-1 week. They bounced back from the loss to Millard North to pull out a 66-64 game with Omaha Central. So Central went 0-2 this week. They dropped down to 9. You talk about Kearney getting that, likely being that 7th number 1 seed. They went 2-0. They beat Fremont, and then they beat Lincoln Southwest 84-77, despite 39 from Braden Frager for the Silverhawks.
He's had some big games recently, which is good to see because needed it.
Yeah. Jacob Weber had 32 for Kearney in response there, and then Ben Johnson had 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. So they had a little bit more firepower there, got that one done. Pius is at 8. They beat Lincoln Northeast, double-double for Trayson Anderson. And then Papio South squeezed back in at 10 there after the run they've been on recently. They beat 53-42 against Millard West to close out the regular season. Ball had 17 points and 13 rebounds in that one.
That North Star losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hurt him a little bit.
Yeah. And so, Southeast fell out of the poll receiving votes, or they were out, but they weren't able to climb back in, and lost the chance to host a district by losing at the buzzer to Lincoln North Star. Right. I was there for that one. It was wild swings. Like North Star scored 4 points in the second quarter. They fell behind by 18 early in the third quarter.
Unreal.
And then went on a 33-11 run. And with freshman Jordan Casper leading the way, had 10 points in the third quarter to get them going again. Zarek Houston finished with 25, and then kind of back and forth throughout the fourth quarter. Southeast uses a foul to give with 2.2 seconds to force North Star to take it out of bounds. And so they get the ball on the baseline. Nobody's getting open. The play they drew up did not work, so they just had to chuck it deep to William Schaefer, who caught it, took one dribble to the right, and let it go from the wording on the side of the court, and contest defender in his face, just had to chuck it up there, went in at the buzzer for the win. Schaefer only hit 2 threes. It was that one, and at the end of the third quarter, he fell for the fake student section countdown, and off a steal, let it go at half court with 20 seconds left.
Man.
There were 20 seconds left, and he let it go, and it banked in. So those are the 2 threes he hit. So kind of an interesting game there, but Lazare Houston led the way with 25, and that was a big win for the young Gators there, but really rough loss for Southeast, who finishes at 17-7 with that 64-61 loss there. So that's kind of where we're at in A. We talked about, you've got the district seedings coming up here. Should be announced.
We record this on Monday. Should be Tuesday, I think, is the day it's supposed to be. So
so
very interesting. Some of those, some of the matchups would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, the district finals are always, especially in some of those middle ones.
Yeah, 4 through 7.
Yeah,
could be. Yeah, could be a little bit on upset alert. A little bit. It depends on the matchup, right?
Yeah. We talked about, seems like a bit more balanced.
Central could be the 2 in Pius's district. We're playing at Pius is real hard.
Yeah.
And
but we see what Central's capable of.
Yeah, you look at the matchup, you're like, might like that one if you're Central, right?
Got some size to throw at Anderson and
big
the guards
athletic.
that kind of heat up. Yeah.
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 So it's we're gonna be very interesting next week, I guess. Okay, Class B.
Yeah.
Quick.
Some the big, 1, 2, 3, Crete, Scott, Norris remained. The big result was their last day on Saturday. I was there for this one. Roncalli went to Elkhorn and beat them 52-49. It was a wild game. If you were there, it was 21-6 Roncalli after the first quarter. And it's oh, here we go, blowout. Elkhorn turned around in the second quarter and won that 21-7 to make it a 1-point game at halftime. And then it was tight throughout the third and fourth quarter. And then Roncalli just made a few more plays, and Elkhorn ended up, so they were trying to dribble up towards their bench and get a timeout with 4 or 5 seconds, whatever, 7 seconds, whatever it was, inside of 10 seconds. Last possession, they're going to try to go down 3. They needed to get off a 3. Tried to go call a timeout to set something up, and the officials didn't grant the timeout before Christian Swift knocked the ball free from behind for a steal. So, dribbling towards the coach, getting ready to pick it up, call timeout, whatever. Popped it free from behind, and they got the steal and dribbled out the clock. So Elkhorn didn't even get a shot off. Lost it by 3. Brady McGill, the senior Brady McGill, that is, was fantastic. Yeah, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, went 5 of 8 from 3. He was the one that got him off to the great start, and then he's the one that kind of took over in the second half when and led the way there. Had a big third quarter as well. So he was fantastic. Christian Swift had 11 points, 6 assists. Colin Comstock had 20 for the Antlers, but they didn't quite get enough. Just 19 turnovers. It was too much to overcome. So with that, Roncalli also lost by 2 to Council Bluffs Lewis Central, but Lewis Central is a good team, obviously out of state there. Coaches didn't really hold that much against them. I believe Lewis Central gave Scott a real run for its money.
I think they
was close.
The Elkhorn win higher. Or that's the reason why they moved up.
So Roncalli climbed up from 8 to 4. So they went over Bennington, went over Elkhorn recently to get there. So they finish 15-7. Elkhorn dropped to 5 at 14-4. And then outside of that, not a whole lot. Elkhorn North took a loss to Elkhorn South and moved down a couple of spots, but I mean, it's a Class A team is what it is there. There are only 9 teams in Class B over 500. That's it. Can't even. Yeah. All season long, we've the 10th spot has just been
it just flipped.
Yeah, whoever had the last good win, basically, because we don't have 10 teams with a really good record, unfortunately, in B. But that's what it is, and that's where the class is. So in C1, big result. You were there for this one. DC West.
Yeah,
continued their fantastic season by knocking off Concordia on it was senior night for DC West, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So 49-48 win for that one. What do you see out there?
Yeah, well, it was DC West jumped out early, like 12-2 or something, bang, like real quick. And then second quarter, not great. Concordia came back. Concordia is a really good team.
Yeah.
And then came back, took the lead. I think it was like 19-18. It was really low scoring. Took the lead by 1 at half. And then Concordia came out in the second half and kind of pushed it a little bit. They were up by 8 at one point in the third quarter. And then DC West just kept fighting. I mean, that's basically what it was. They play really hard. They're physical, well-coached team and defend really well because obviously you have, I mean, they played 40-point game. And then and they just won it last second shot.
Cam Weiss.
Cam Weiss. Yeah. Not last second. This is like 1.3 left, which basically was the last second shot. And just it was a clear out even. And I was like, whoa, he's gonna clear this out. I mean, they had the ball with like 20 seconds left. And he was like, no. And it was 1-4 flat and just pull up free throw line, cashed it. And I was like, whoa, yeah.
That's interesting because Weiss is very much a pass first player too. So for him,
he wanted the ball, man. Like he totally wanted the ball in that. And I'm telling you, he was. I mean,
finished with 17, led them in scoring in that game with the game winner.
He was good, man.
Nolan Asher, talented sophomore for them, chipped in 13.
Yeah.
Won at the end. So Concordia dropped from 3 to 4.
Yeah,
they're 21-2. That was only their second loss. DC West is also 20-2. They're at 5, climbed back up from 9 after taking that loss to Ashland Greenwood, right?
Right.
And those two might end up seeing each other in the postseason. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That one. I mean, the sub-district. If you just in C1, I guess we're talking about, but that sub-district is tough because how they did sub-districts now is all based geographical.
Yeah.
So like they want to make it easier for teams in travel and stuff. Well, what that does is make the sub-district really hard.
Yeah.
So like,
and it's really awkward. Like.
But it still goes to the top 16 teams will still get in.
Like and that's why it's like hard to know what to make of these sub-district finals when you've got like
not a lot. All it does is guarantee you a spot.
Because like Ashland Green and Wahoo played in the a sub-district final a year or two ago or whatever.
It's like still both make it. Yes.
Yeah, it's like how like it's obviously you play to win every game, but also knowing like we're probably going to see these guys again. We don't want to pull out all our tricks, so it's kind of an awkward setup there. If it's not truly do or die, but at the same time, you don't want it to be both those teams deserve to be in the final field. So I don't know what the best, I know a lot of people are very passionate about the postseason setup. I don't know the best way to do it. But this is the method we have now. So
yeah. I mean, it is very, it's odd if you don't know, but what it also does is get the best 16 teams in the district finals. So based off wildcard points. Yeah, I mean, Ashland Greenwood, their sub-district is Wahoo, Newman, and Louisville. All 3 of those teams can make the state tournament.
Yep.
I don't think Louisville will.
Yeah.
So you look at that, and then the Concordia one is Boys Town and Arlington play. The winner of that plays Concordia, and then you have Fort Calhoun and DC West, and Fort Calhoun's 18-4.
Yeah.
again, all three of those, maybe Boys Town, shoot, they just had a big win. Like, and they played Concordia before too. So it just, you look at it like there's some really tough sub-districts and some that aren't quite as tough. So it just is, it's interesting. And in C2, it's even, the Lincoln Lutheran sub-district is bonkers. So you have really good teams. Freeman, Lincoln Lutheran, Tri-County, and Johnson County Central. And Lincoln Lutheran is 14-8, but their schedule, they're 8 like that doesn't matter. Freeman or Lincoln Lutheran plays Tri-County in a sub-district game, semifinal, and those are 2 top 5 teams in our coaches poll playing in a sub-district semifinal. And then Johnson County Central is 16-6, and if they win, they play Freeman in a sub-district semifinal.
That'd be wild.
It's real hard.
Yeah. And C2 was the only change at the top of our coaches poll here in the last regular season one.
Lincoln Lutheran lost to Boys Town.
Yeah. 74-57. So it was a big loss there. Darian Whitaker had 22 and 17 rebounds. Marcus Gray had 17 points and 12 rebounds. Tough matchup with the size and rebounding they have there. But Lincoln Lutheran's kind of been at the top despite, having 7 or 8 losses all season, because basically their entire schedule is
crazy.
Yeah, their entire schedule is C1, B,
and
some of the best teams in those classes. It's not like they're just playing anybody. But at the end of the day, 8 losses and a 17-point loss to Boys Town, that was enough to knock them out of that top spot. So Amherst, 20-2 there, climbs up to number 1 there. And as we wrap up the regular season, congrats to the 3 teams who made it without a loss. It's Creed at 23-0 in B. It's Auburn at 23-0 in C1, and it's Johnson Brock at 22-0. 22-0
it's only
D1.
3. That's, it's hard. It just shows you it's really hard. Even for as good as Bellevue West is, that loss, happened way early, but it's really hard to do it.
100%. And see there. Yeah, and so Bell West are they the only 1-loss team?
I believe so.
Yeah, everybody else took at least 2 losses, I believe. So, yeah, it's been a fun regular season here. Kind of put a cap on.
Now Shelton is 20 and 1.
That's right. Yeah.
D2.
Yep.
There's 2 1-loss teams.
Yeah, they're number 1 in D2. So, 2 1-loss teams, 3 undefeated teams, and then everybody else with 2 or more.
It's gonna be a wild ride. The next week is gonna be pretty crazy, actually. I think there's just going to be I think because it's super balanced, we're looking ahead here a little bit, but I think there could be some seed upset stuff or some really close games, and I wish I could be everywhere, but I can't.
That's always a tough thing about this time of year.
Trying to choose where to go.
Yeah, figuring out.
It's going to be hard.
But, so put a cap on this episode before we head into the postseason next week with some shout outs like usual. We'll start in D2. Mentioned Shelton's number 1, 2 is Osceola, and Cale Gustafson, again, the senior, 31 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, and a 67-50 win against High Plains. Shot 11-16 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 6 of 6 from the line. He had a double-double in all 21 games this season, averaging 25.1 points and 14.4 rebounds.
Right.
Just an unbelievable season for him there. And Osceola is going to be tough here heading into the postseason, largely because of him. Sandy Creek Jr., Ethan Shaw had a huge game as well, at 34 points on 13-17 shooting. 34 points on 17 shots. That's pretty efficient. 5 of 5 from 3, 3 of 6 from the line, 5 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals, and a 78-57 win at Heartland. And then finally, Ainsworth senior Cardin Nelson, obviously the Husker football commit, can hoop a little bit too. Yeah. He had a triple-double on Monday. 20 points on 50% shooting, 4 or 5 from the free throw line, 15 rebounds, including 6 on the offensive end, 10 assists, 4 blocks, and 2 steals in a 69-41 against North Central. And then also had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals, and a 71-63 win against a good Bridgeport team later in the week. So pretty good week there for Nelson as he's kind of wrapping up his hoops career here.
Yeah.
There with Ainsworth.
Hoping to make it to the state tournament with one of those.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for this week's episode of Nebraska Preps Postgame.